Hi boys and girls, welcome to our first digital lesson. Today we're going to have a brief introduction to the Underground Railroad. We're going to look at a few key vocabulary terms that we need to know and be introduced to 4 key people who helped shape the Underground Railroad. First, let's ask the question, what is the Underground Railroad? We have 2 words here that make us think it was really a railroad and it was really underneath the ground, but it wasn't. The railroad was a group of people who got together and decided that they wanted to support individuals who were hoping to escape slavery. They were people who connected their homes and cities and churches and created safe spaces for those escaping slavery. Underground means secret and not on the mainstream, something people don't know about. So when we say that it was the Underground Railroad, what we mean is that it was a connection of secret houses and communities who were hiding people who were escaping slavery. Think about it. To assist others in escaping slavery, you would need a plan. Remember that at the time, slavery was legal. It was allowed, even though it was the wrong thing and the way that people should not have been treated. The Underground Railroad created a plan for those to escape slavery in the United States and head toward Canada, where slavery was abolished. Abolished means not allowed, not legal. When we're talking about the Underground Railroad, it's important to remember that a lot of the terms that were used were codes and symbols to keep the railroad secret and assist people in hiding from slavery. So some of the key terms that are really important to know are the conductors. Now, the conductors are those who helped escape slaves by transporting them on their long journey. So these are people who supported them and took them along their way. A station was a home that maybe had a secret room or a secret hideout spot for escaped slaves to hide. A station master was the individual who ran this home and provided meals, clothing, and refuge, which means safety. So the road itself and the path and journey was very dangerous. These people were escaping in dangerous conditions and their lives were at risk. So when they got to a station, the station master would make sure that these people were able to just have a nice night of sleep and just rest a little bit before continuing a very dangerous journey. The terminals were the cities and the towns where the safe houses were located. Now, if you go on our website to our interactive activity, you can see some of the station homes and terminals that were in the northern United States and southern Canada areas. Because slavery was legal in the South, it was not actually very common that the Underground Railroad extended to the South. It was mostly in the northern United States. The passengers were the men, women, and children who were escaping slavery. Remember, they weren't actually riding on a train. These were code words. Mostly, it was men escaping slavery because women and children had a very difficult time getting away from these conditions of slavery. Lines were the routes that brought people to freedom in the North. So you would choose a line and you would follow that line. Heaven was the code word for Canada, and Freedom Train was the code name for the Underground Railroad. Some key figures to consider are Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, William Still, and Levi Coffin. Sojourner Truth was one of the individuals who was a very key voice in the abolition of slavery. She also spoke up for the rights of women. One of her quotes are, "If women want any rights more than they got, why don't they just take them and not be talking about it?" She was about action and activism and making a difference in her real life. She inspired so many people, and one of them was Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman was living in conditions of slavery. She was able to escape slavery and got into Canada. She said, "Across the line, I was free, but there was no one to welcome me to the land of freedom. I was a stranger in a strange land." She realized after she escaped slavery that she could help others do the same, and she risked a very dangerous journey, went back to where she started, and helped others escape as well. William Still, one of his very impactful quotes, is that the heroism and desperate struggle that many of our people, that is Black African Americans or just Black Americans, had to endure should be kept green in the memory of this and coming generations. This means that we cannot forget that people lived through slavery and that we need to make reparations for it even today. A quote from Levi Coffin, he was one of the people who supported people as they left slavery. He said that the dictates of humanity came in opposition to the law of the land, and we ignored the law. He knew it was right to support people because human lives matter. Black lives matter. And so what he did was fought against the law and did the right thing to help people. Now, what I would like you to do is to click this link. You're going to see it in your slides. The link will lead you to this Scholastic webpage, which has a story called Escape to Freedom. It's got video about the Underground Railroad, a series of vocabulary words that you need to pay attention to, as well as a game to test your knowledge. Thanks so much for listening to this mini lesson. I hope you learned something.